Experience taught me that. I didn't learn it from someone. Observation taught me that one. I started looking at it, and I realized what was happening, what was wrong. There's nothing wrong. You stop showing up. You get soft, and you stop showing up, and you stop showing up, and the more that you stop showing up, the softer you get. And now you even have a hard time staying in the ground that you achieved. You even have a hard time keeping that ground. Ain't that a fucking thing? You even have a hard time keeping that ground. Keeping what once was a high ground, you're having a hard time keeping it. Even though you can do it with less effort and in less hours. To me, that was the biggest eye-opener in my career. I was like, wait a minute. I can do this in much less hours, with much less effort, and I'm having a hard time keeping that high ground, which at one point, that high ground cost me twice the effort and twice the hours. Those of you who get this, man, what I just said right now is going to change your career forever. If you get it and apply it. If you don't apply it, it won't. But if you get it and apply it, it's going to change your career forever. Your career will never be the same if you actually apply what I just shared with you right now. That alone is a $2,000 fucking an hour mentoring. That alone. It is so difficult to get when you haven't done it. Most people don't get it because they've never done it, so they don't understand what I'm talking about here. And again, I conclude with the same thing. You are not getting what you want because you're not showing up. It is the only problem that you have. If I were to tell you you only have one problem, and you were like, okay, which one is it? You wouldn't believe it. As an artist, if I told you that that's the only problem. You don't have an artistic problem. You don't have a style problem. You have a I don't show up daily problem. I don't show up enough. I don't show up daily, and I don't show up enough. So you can show up daily, but if you're not showing up enough, it's going to work. It's just going to take a little bit more time. So some people are like, no, I do show up every day. I show up for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, right? If you do it every day, you don't have to worry about the fact that you only show up for 30 minutes or 1 hour. It'll start growing. It'll start paying you. It pays you dividends. If you do it the other way, though, if you show up for, 6 or 8 hours one day, but you don't do it consistently, it'll never pay you. It'll never pay you. You're better off just showing up 1 hour a day, every single day, than trying to show up 8 hours whenever you feel like it. Or most of the week. It'll never pay you. It starts paying you dividends right away when you do it every single day. Whether it's a little bit or a lot, it doesn't matter. It starts paying you right away. It rewards you in different ways. All of a sudden, your style gets looser because you get better. When you get better, you're not so stiff anymore. You start having all kinds of new creative ideas, and you start realizing that it was all in your head. Why didn't you do this before? You're going to start asking yourself, why didn't I do this before? It was all in my head. I was just not showing up. really hope that this is something helpful for artists out there to consider in their careers. This was the biggest game changer for me. And one little word of advice, you're probably going to fall off the wagon. Don't lick wounds when you fall off the wagon. Don't sit there and start licking your wounds. Jump back up again right away. Because next to not showing up, the biggest problem is sitting there and licking your wounds. And so many artists are like, yeah, I used to do good, but you know, I'm almost there. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. That's licking your wounds. That's feeling sorry about yourself and not jumping back up right away. Next week. No, right now, today. Jump back up again. Don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect timing to jump back up. To jump up again on the wagon. You fall off, you jump right back up again. You like a spring. Don't let your ass hit the floor. Don't sit there. Because you're going to be tempted of staying there long enough. You're going to start licking your wounds and you're going to feel tempted to stay there. Because again, one of the biggest problems is that when you fall, you start telling yourself, I'm so stupid, I don't have... See, your self-belief is going to start hurting you. Your self-belief is going to come down. Every time you don't keep your promises that you make to yourself, your self-belief diminishes. This is what they don't teach you in self-help books and all that bullshit out there. And when you don't keep your promises, you lose self-esteem. Your promises that you make to yourself, you automatically lose self-esteem because you don't trust yourself anymore. You lose self-trust. And so the best thing that you can do is keep